The Utkarsh Parashar Show, ACCA Talk with Tom Clendon. This podcast is sponsored by Fintech Valuation Advisory LLP. Fintech is a leading valuation firm for all kind of assets.
So welcome everyone to the Utkarsh Parashar Show. Today we are with very special guest Tom Clendon. So sir, first of all, very welcome to the show. Thanks for accepting my invitation. It's been an honor to have you on the show. And Mr. Tom is the famous ACCA SBR guru, podcaster, and a former examiner and a marker. Over the last 30 years, he has helped thousands of students to pass their ACCA final level accountancy papers. In 2009, he was awarded PQ Tutor of the Year. So, thank you very much, sir, for being on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Sir, let's begin by asking about your ACCA journey. So what is your ACCA journey?
Well, my ACCA journey was a long one because I left school. I didn't do the university route. So I studied ACCA from the very beginning. There were more papers in those days. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed the challenge, and I enjoyed the fact that it wasn't an academic qualification. It was a professional qualification that blended sort of the work experience, and it helped me in my work. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, nice. Like after ACCA, what career opportunities are there? For instance, if I do my ACCA from India, what options are available to me if I want to work in the UK?
Well, that's a very specific question. Let me just tell you a little bit more about my journey. I was working ACCA as an ACCA student whilst I was working in civil service. Then I also worked in practice as well for KPMG. And that taught me as a student that you can work anywhere, because every organization, every business wants accountants, whether you're a charity, whether you're a government, whether you're a profit-making organization. Transactions have to be measured, accounts have to be prepared, there is accountability. So for me, I've worked in different sectors. What I also have the experience of is working overseas. ACCA, so I'm from the UK. I live in my hometown.
Yeah.
And but at the age of 50, I had an opportunity of going to live and work in Singapore and across Southeast Asia. And so for 4 years I did that, and I could only do that because ACCA is an internationally recognized qualification. So ACCA is very big in India, it's very big in the UK. I have no comment to make. I have no experience of the UK's immigration system and employment status system. That's not something that I can particularly. I have no insight into that. I can help with people getting the exam wherever they are in the world.
Yeah.
Either I specialize in one particular accounting paper, SBR, but I don't have any experience in job placements for overseas students in the UK.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. For a strategic professional level, is it better to do one exam per sitting, or will it be good to do 2 at a time?
Well, we've got choice, haven't we? ACCA is massively into choice and giving the student the responsibility to make that choice. I think it's a really good question.
Yeah.
In my day, when I was a student, we were doing 2 exams a year. We could only do 2 exams a year.
Okay.
Now, 4 exams a year. My general advice is 1 exam at a time. My general advice is that certainly students coming up from a degree or coming up from skills can underestimate the step up from skills to strategic professional. You really want to. The first time you do an exam is almost your best chance of passing. You want to give it your absolute best shot. And I think if you do 2 exams in one go, the risk is you get 45 in one, 45 in another. If you'd only done 1 exam, hey, you would have smashed it, you know. There are exceptions, there are circumstances where I have listened to students, listened and understood that it's in their interest to do 2 exams in one sitting. Maybe they're only working part-time or they're not working. Maybe one is a reset, that sort of thing. But general rule,
1 exam.
1 exam at a time. It's like, hey, you know, I know we're in a rush. We're in a rush. It's good to be in a rush, but let's make sure that we pass.
Definitely. Sir, how long does it take to pass the ACCA exams, and how difficult is the SBR examination?
The SBR examination is lovely. It's not difficult. It's interesting. It's fantastic. It's relevant. It's something that I've been in love with for 30 years. So there are challenges around it because it's such a mixed examination. You know, there's lots of words, but there's a few numbers. There's lots of theory, but there's lots of application. There's current issues, the stuff that you've kind of done before, the basics, and there's some really kind of rock hard, challenging stuff around derivatives, around share-based payments that need explaining. But although I love SBR, what I love about it is when students pass and pass with 50, because 50% is what we need. I applaud the student who gets sort of 70, 80, 90%. Fantastic. But I'm interested in uplifting the masses. I'm interested in getting people qualified, and that means 50%. When I go to my dentist, I went to the dentist this week. You know, I didn't ask my dentist what mark he got in his dental exams. I just knew he was a qualified dentist. So there is a great equality about passing. That's my view anyway. And I like to help students pass the exam. That's my passion. That's my passion.
Yeah.
Make it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, what's the one thing you wish you would have known before beginning your career?
Oh, I'm happily being ignorant of what's going to happen in the future. I didn't plan my career. I didn't leave school knowing I was going to be an accountant. Fell into it, and having fallen into accountancy, I fell into teaching ACCA. I found my passion quite late on in life through accident. Everything's going to be all right. I think that's the positive attitude that I have. And that I think people need. There's a lot of challenges, but there's a lot of opportunities. I don't think I want to know what's going to happen in the future. I want to make the future. I want to take control of what I can take control of. You know, that's helping my students pass the exam. That's working hard. And then you leave the rest to God. You leave the rest to karma. You leave the rest to, you know, what will be will be. We can only do our best. Does that make sense? What do you wish? Well, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? I mean, you know, you're a young man. It's going to be okay, my friend. We're in a fantastic world. You've got so many opportunities. Almost, dare I say, too many opportunities. You know.
Nice. In your opinion, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to pass the SBR exam?
Listen to my podcast. Yeah, follow me on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Get good tuition, work hard, work smart, do past examination questions, listen to my podcast. Did I say listen to my podcast? Did I say follow me on LinkedIn? I think I did. Yeah, you know, it's all there. It's all there. You know, I can help. I've helped thousands of students.
Yeah.
and they've got to do the work. I mean, I provide the resources, I provide the support, I mark their mock exams, but they've still got to do the mock exams. They've got to commit, and I think commitment is twofold. One is time, the other is money.
Yeah.
And you're making an investment of both. Yeah, you know, and what money can do is buy you shortcuts, buy you a guide, buy you feedback. You know, it is possible it is possible to pass these exams self-study.
No,
it is possible to pass these exams by watching YouTube videos.
No, I don't
and not
think so.
spending any money, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
You've got a good guide, you've got someone on your side, you've got WhatsApp support, someone who's marking your work. You know, you're not going to get lost. You know, you're not going to get lost. You're going to get all the shortcuts. You're going to get all the support and validation and the current material.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Like, what's the one thing? What is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
What's my biggest failure, and what did I learn from it? Oh, that's such a good question. That's such a good question, because I myself am a mistake. In that my parents didn't want me. So my father wanted 2 children, and my mother wanted 6.
Okay.
So they compromised on 4. I had 4 kids, and then I'm number 5. And then my little sister came along, and so she's number 6. So my parents didn't learn from their mistakes. No, I make loads of mistakes all the time. I hesitate. I make mistakes from hesitating. I make mistakes when I'm teaching. But that's okay, you know, because I think, as you rightly say, we learn from our mistakes. The biggest mistake is not doing something. The biggest mistake, the regrets I have in life, are the things that I haven't done. Didn't get to Japan. You know, the mistakes I made were the opportunities I said no to rather than I said yes to. So I'm a fan of being slightly greedy and taking risks and taking advantage of opportunities rather than stepping back and being cautious, wary of making mistakes. So yeah, no, when I reflect, it's a positive experience, and I did a thing with my students recently, and they all got it right. They smashed it. I thought that was a mistake because I hadn't challenged them. I'd given them a bit of false confidence. I thought I need to make it a bit harder for them. So yeah, no, I'm making mistakes all the time. Life would be very dull. Life would be very dull if I was making mistakes.
Okay. So what distinguishes ACCA from the other accounting bodies? How ACCA is different, like from ACCA?
How is ACCA different? Well,
yeah.
You know, I fell into ACCA. I didn't choose to do ACCA. It chose me. And that's a question that you're asking me now, sort of with the benefit of hindsight. For me, ACCA is international. For me, ACCA is proud of its diversity, and it was proud of its diversity well before diversity became a flavor, a sort of a modern thing to think about. Because ACCA started, you can study ACCA without a scholarship. You can study ACCA without employment. You can study ACCA whether you're male or female, whether you're in India, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Pakistan, whether you're in China. You can study ACCA. Now, that open access is something that is to be applauded, because it's an opportunity for social mobility. It's an opportunity for personal growth. And I see that in ACCA more than I see that in some other professional bodies who are a little bit more elitist, who are a little bit more preserving the status quo in terms of the power, in terms of the elitism. So I really, on a personal level, I'm very grateful that I ended up in ACCA because of that transformational. And that's not a recent thing. That is in its DNA from the very, very, very beginning. That's how it started. It's why it started.
Okay. So in your opinion, what is success?
Happiness.
Okay.
Yeah, success is happiness. It's not money, is it? It may not even be getting ACCA qualified. It's about fulfilling your potential. I think if you fulfill your potential, that's why people work hard, isn't it? God has given us talent. He's given us all different talents, different personalities, different strengths, different weaknesses. And so I think our responsibility is to use them. And if we use them and fulfill our potential, then I think that's happiness. Happiness is not about fame or money. It's about being contented that when you go to bed at night, you've done a good day's work. You've been nice to people. You've helped people. What's your definition of happiness?
I don't know, but something you like to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy when I'm at a concert. I'm happy when I'm teaching.
I'm happy when I do this podcast. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm happy when I'm having a meal with my family. There's lots of times that I can be happy, and
money can't buy happiness.
No, it's a byproduct. Money buys you independence. Money buys you choice. Money buys you flexibility. Money buys you status in the eyes of others. But it's a bit sad if you are only happy if you've got status in the eyes of others. I mean, we've all got that within us to a degree, but yeah, there's a philosophical question.
Okay, that's good. Okay, where can our listeners find you online?
Everywhere online. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Spotify for my podcast, I'm on YouTube. I have the advantage of having a very unusual name, Clendon.
Yeah.
Clendon. So if you search Tom Clendon ACCA on Google, you will find me.
Okay, it's time to end up this podcast. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable time. Thanks everyone for listening to this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you would like to help support the podcast, please share it with others and post about it on social media. Leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram _Utkarsh Parashar, and also follow sir on Instagram. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much, sir. It's
pleasure.